Good morning, it's Amber from Lives on the Hill, and Jack and I are sitting in the paddock, and I've just planted out some more tubers. I wasn't going to put a heap in the paddock, but plans have changed a bit, so here we are. So I've done, I don't know if you can see it, but I've done these rows. There's 4 rows here next to the black plastic, and there's ones that have been left in, so I'll show you all of that. They were left in from last season. So last season this all extended right past where this black plastic was and went way down there, and I didn't have any weed mat down, so this will be the pathways this year. I did leave in some tubers. I've got to weed all of this, but there's some that have actually sprouted up that end. I did leave some in just so that I could have some earlier flowers, because you're always busting for the dahlias. And there's more rows here. So there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I put in an extra row. So there's 6 rows in here, and then there was 5 there. So more left in there. I've got to fix that bit up as well, but I've planted out all of my newer ones from last year, all the remaining stock I had after my sale, which sort of wasn't really the plan, but now we're, I think, growing more for tubers more than anything else. So, and Jack's found a warm spot. I've had a costume change. It's quite warm today. Don't you love stuff from the op shop? I think I got this for like $2, $3. So cool. Oh, and someone, I think it was someone called Sandy, said, can you show me the things that you sew? I'm wearing a skirt I sewed. Can you see that? A little gingham. So easy, no pattern, but just cut out big squares and then measure your waist, and it's got elastic in the back and flat waistband in the front, so it's not all bunchy. Nice and light. It's really cool. So I thought I'd just show you a bit of a November tour of the farm. So the dahlias are going in the bottom, and I've still got some more to plant out. I just need to work out which ones I'm going to put in, because there's some that don't sell as well, like Winky Cavaliers or Black Amber. No one wants these ones, I think, that have been around for a while, so I need to work out what to do with those. I think I might do a bit of a last minute sale on those, or do some packs perhaps and just sell them fairly cheap just to clear them. Otherwise I just don't want to plant them all, because I don't think there's any point in things that aren't going to be popular next year for dahlia sales. So anyway, I'll show you what's going on around with the garden. It's kind of chaos at the moment. My lovely purple roses, I don't know what type this is, but it's gone ballistic. We've got a walkway through here. I don't know if you can really see. Here we go, walkway. My husband built this, and it's very lovely with all the roses on it, but it's a bit of a mongrel one, really. Anyway, so walking through my arbor. This is through to my the clothesline. Ignore the washing on the line. The rest of the front garden's looking pretty good since my husband weeded. Oh, hydrangea. This is a really pretty one. When this comes, I'll show you. It's got a really unusual little flower. Some Sweet William I put in a while ago has come up. This is a huge mess. Straw flowers, I think they're on their end. Short-term perennial. There's still some flowers, there's some new growth, but there's a lot of dead things in there. So I really need to just go through, and I did start hand weeding it, but that was a nightmare too. So I'm thinking maybe we'll just cut our losses with that, go through, pick what I can, and then just get hubby to go through with a whippersnipper. I don't know. I need to finish weeding over here. I've got to there's peonies in amongst that. Once again, the weeding problem. I did do a bit, but the roses are looking lovely. Some of these are opening up. Some of these David Austins, which is exciting. You know, things are looking sweet. I love this Abraham Derby. This one, Olivia Austin's, looking beautiful. This was one over here that I was really excited about. Vanessa Bell, beautiful colours. I actually need to deadhead a few of these, so that's the Poet's Wife. I've actually bought more David Austins recently. feverfew I planted last year is really getting tall now in its second year. So that's a perennial and it's starting to really flower now. So give it a little bit longer and then it'll be good to pick. That's the Tetra variety, a little bit frillier. It's nice in bouquets, that. These foxgloves are so pretty. Apricot delight, I think they were. So they're starting to lose some of their flowers on the bottom. I didn't harvest any of these. I was a bit scared of them being poisonous, but I just thought they looked too nice up against this fence of ours. I'll show you from the other side. Hubby made this fence out of some tin and some old sleepers, and I just thought that looked really lovely. So I didn't want to pick it, but hopefully they'll self-seed. But I will grow some more of these for next year because they're a good wedding-y colour for this time of spring when there's not much happening. One of my bearded irises. A lady down in Ballara gave me a whole stack. You might remember I did do a video on it, but yeah, one of them's bloomed, so that's nice. It's a colour that I didn't have before. My Olea's doing well. Pretty sure this is Ami Visnaga, which is one in the middle. But this, I like this. My Ami Majus and Ami Visnaga has not done well just here. It's yellowing, so it's obviously lacking in something. It sort of wants to flower, this one. I think it's the Ami Majus. But something's going on here, and this one's gone yellow too, so probably lack of love, maybe. I struggle when things are over this side of the garden. They tend to get forgotten a bit, which is not good. And my snapdragon's here, desperately needing a weed around everything, but there's some coming up, which is nice. Just a little bit of colour. Okay, my main dahlia patch up in my flower garden, and that's certainly coming up. So there's the 8 rows, and a lot of them are up. So I've been going around with my nose to the ground, making sure I put slug and snail bait down. They had a bit of a water yesterday. I'm really quite finicky when it comes to these. I'm going to do another little weed, but not right now, it's too warm. So that might be late this afternoon, get in here and have a bit of a weed. Now, I actually weeded this long bed. Crazy, I know. I think I might have shown you the amaranthus. That's the hot chili variety, but I have put in celosia, which is Texas plume, summer sherbet, that one, and some gomphrena in here, which is a nice, I think it's the tall rose one. And the scabiosa down there that I put in. I don't know if it's going to do any good being put in now, but anyway. And down this patch here, there's some more dahlias that were left over. And there's some stock at the end that's not doing anything, which I might actually pull that out. The only other thing that's new is some new roses I put in. I think I showed you these. These two I bought but hadn't put in yet. That's another Abraham Derby. This one is Australian Beauty. This is a new one. It looked much prettier before it had opened up more. Had almost a bluey tinge to it. But it's this one. Whatever, yep. It's lovely. It's another David Austin, this one, which is Brother Cadfael. My pronunciation's terrible. Apparently a character out of a Sherlock Holmes book, I think, as the story goes. This one here is Dame Judi Dench, another David Austin. There's a bloom on the ground. So I kind of pulled the snow peas were in here. I pulled them out, put those in. And I put in, well, I actually pulled out a Cosmos to stick this David Austin in, which is Jude the Obscure. So there's a bud, and there's the tag, if you can sort of see that one. It's another nice one. And I've ordered a few more. So this whole area has always been annuals. First year I was growing lots of flowers. It was dahlias. So that was the first year I started selling flowers. It was just dahlias. I didn't do a spring. And then now it's just been turned over to, well, at the moment it's spring, annuals, and the dahlias are in. And I always would struggle with putting any perennials in here because I'd be thinking, I've got to keep the beds free to turn them over, so let's not put anything in there that's going to stay. So I also struggle with putting veggies in here, but my garlic's starting to die off, just down here, which means that I can harvest it in about a month, so that's good. But yeah, I put these roses in here, the 5 in that bed, the one here, which I think, well, that other Cosmos I put in there, that'll go too, because I have ordered 3 more online yesterday morning that were for sale. So 3 more potted ones, and they were all David Austin. So I think I got Emily Bronte. Can't remember what the other two were. I can't remember. I'll have a look and I'll tell you. But yeah, I just want to collect them all, really. So yes, that's what I've done. But the plan I think now is to turn this patch over to a bit more perennials, and the garden down where the paddock is, where the dahlias are down there, that will be more of things that get turned over. Although there is a bit of a new plan now to certainly do less of everything basically, and just do dahlias. I think that's just the way to go. How pretty is this snapdragon? Lovely peachy pink. This is one I'll grow for next year. I do have a wedding early November. I've probably mentioned it, and that's sort of the colour tones she wants, that more warm pastel shades. So any hardy annuals I do that can potentially be open early November, that's the shade I'm going to go for. So I'm not going to bother with tulips or anything early spring at all. This whole area will be turned over for her wedding. Plant and grow as much as I can for that, and I may have to buy some stuff in too, because my roses might not be quite going. They do start a little bit later up here because we're up a little bit higher, but in amongst these weeds are some really pretty snapdragons. If you haven't grown Godetia before, it's really worthwhile. It gets quite tall, like it's up to sort of my waist, although I am short, but it's really pretty. It's only an annual. Some nice sweet peas happening, although not as many. There's a nice one down here. Not as many as I would have hoped. I was hoping for a whole big long row. A lot of them went yellow and died. It's a nice one in there. Oh, mustard weed. I've actually planted some more, though I'm not too sure how they're going to go. This is a nice one. I think this is the chocolate streamer one. But yes, I didn't pinch them this year, which was dumb. I sort of forgot that. So I think that could be why we don't have as many flowers. Next season, I'm going to only grow the peachy pink variety for that wedding, and not such a long row like all of this. It's a bit hard to see it, but it's just got quite weedy, so be a bit more selective. Flowers are cheerful this year. It's just this little patch. After last year's crazy enormous patch, it's actually quite nice having these. So I might do some blue ones next season, but once again, I'll be picking colours that will go for this November wedding. But we'll do some more of those because they are really sort of wildflower looking, cottage garden sort of look, which is what the bride's after. This is my coriander that I just let it bolt and flower. It's nice in bouquets. My husband hates it. He keeps threatening to pee on it. For him, it tastes like soap. So I don't actually love the smell myself so much, but that does settle down once you've picked it. But it is nice in bouquets, lovely and fluffy and filling. This is Persian cress, another little foliagey thing I grew, and I haven't picked it yet. It's quite underwhelming though. It's quite sparse. I don't know if I was meant to pinch it. I'll have to look that up, but well, I should just pick it really and use it, and then I could clear this bed, because I've got some new dahlias coming, about 9. No, I did think I did order some more from somewhere else, so maybe I've got about 11 or so coming, and I need to find a spot for them. My garden beds in the front looking really nice now. I put all this feverfew in. It fills a gap beautifully, and also I'll be able to pick off it. There's a bit of nigella coming, or love in the mist is the other name for it. Got less of that this year than I normally do, which is interesting. Got a few roses in here that I put in around. So they were last year's roses. Not much flowering going on, but anyway, so this is actually looking a lot better after hubby weeded. Sitting under our favourite ash tree. It's quite warm, so it's nice under here. Thought I'd do a really quick wrap up, catch up, what's been happening. As you can see, lots is going on, lots of weeds, spring, and dahlias going in. Just come off the back of quite successful tuber sales, and I've already been selling them via Facebook. So I took probably, well, been over 50 parcels down to the post office. So that was quite good. No doubt other flower farmers who've been selling their tubers in a more organised fashion using their websites have done way better than I have. And those that own, well, let's see, I know Flora Lee has put in 10,000 plants, I think she put on her social media for this season. That's insane. I don't have a staff member, so I can't do that sort of thing. But we talking to my husband, and we discovered that, you know, the dahlia tuber sales is definitely the way to go. I probably did 3 times the amount, actually probably nearly 4 times the amount in sales and return on my tubers this year, so that was really good. I had a lot more different varieties. So the plan for winter is to get my website organised, to work out how I use it properly so people can buy tubers through that, and I can put in the stock how much of everything there is, and then it does an inventory and counts down and puts up a sold out when things have sold out. I don't know, I'm not very technologically minded, so I'll figure that out. Make sure this summer I take photos of each of my individual dahlia flowers, proper nice ones with my good camera, so that I've got good photos. I didn't do that last season. I kept kicking myself later because I didn't have good photos, so get that done. That's the plan. I've had some dismal farmers markets over the last few weeks. I didn't have anything this weekend. Today's Sunday, so I've had a break. But the last 3 weekends I've had a total of 5. I have an itchy head. I had a total of 5 markets, and the wind drove me to absolute distraction. I also did pretty badly in sales. The worst one, I did $35 in sales, so it's not worth getting out of bed at stupid o'clock to do $35 in sales. And another one was not much better than that. And I did Rokeby. I mentioned Rokeby, and I should have done really well. It was my expectation, but I know it's probably not classy to talk about money, but $145 in sales at a very big market, I don't think is good enough, really. And I don't think it's so much the product. I think a lot of things I think that can influence how well a farmer's market might go. You know, from the weather to who happens to be there, or if it's a long weekend. I got hit with a long weekend over one of these markets, and it did affect the fact that people just weren't stopping. They were all shooting straight through because they were all heading down to East Gippsland. So I can't help that. But I've said it before, people do just go to markets just to have a nice morning out and walk their dog and have a coffee, maybe walk their husband, spend some time with him. You know, it's not such a thing to buy stuff. So when you're taking a product that's perishable, you know, all that time and effort to then bring it home again and chuck it on the compost pile is really depressing. So think long and hard if you're thinking about becoming a flower farmer, and if you think farmers markets, you've got the customer bases just coming to you. Yes, they are, but it's certainly not easy. So anyway, not to talk you out of it. So my plan now, just moving forward, just having a look at my November flower farm and what's going on now, and reflecting on where I'm going in the future. I started this is my 3rd season, so I started with just dahlias, and you know, I missed out on that first half of the season sales, and certainly in my 2nd year, which was last year, I did twice the amount in sales for the season. So there you go, I had spring and summer, not just summer. That makes sense. But when it comes down to it, I really don't like spring flowers. There's things that are pretty, and I think, aren't they nice? Like, I like sweet peas, aren't they lovely? And ranunculus are lovely, but they just don't thrill me. And the things that do thrill me are the dahlias. I just love them, and I pay more attention to them, and I actually really look after them. Case in point, I'm crawling around on my hands and knees looking for the tiny little shoots that come up so I can put slug and snail bait down before they get eaten. And then I go around every night and do that. And then I'm making sure that they've got enough water, and I'll go out and seaweed feed them once a week and spend a lot of time and effort on them. But the spring flowers, they just don't get that attention from me. So they no doubt struggle a lot more, if that makes sense. So I think after my disastrous farmers markets that tuber sales are definitely the way to go. So that's what I'm going to do coming forward. I've just bought, just the last couple of days, a few more varieties, so probably 12 new varieties. I want to have a really good wide variety of different tubers to sell, so I thought, well, let's build up the collection. So I've done that, and my husband's actually going to bring home a new shed to set up, and we can have part of that as better storage system. So that's one thing we're also doing. So yeah, tuber sales I think is going to be my main thing, and then hopefully I can find somewhere to sell the actual flowers. So I'm thinking maybe more buckets of dahlias, so both retail and hopefully wholesale. So fingers crossed we're going to find somewhere to. I do have a ute. My son and I shared a ute. We bought it at the end of last season, and I haven't really actually got to use it yet, so I just need to stick a canopy on it, and then I could transport flowers. So even if I've got to head more down Melbourne way, I could do a load of tubers. So that's not tubers, flowers. So that's a plan. But here's the thing, like, you really need to sell something and that you're like really enthusiastic about. So flowers, they're so time consuming and they take up so much of your effort, like physical work. So much time has gone into all those little things that I've grown out there. But if it's something you really love, you're going to want to do it, and you're going to make more of an effort to make sure that they're really good. So dahlias are my thing. I know a lot about them. I had a neighbour the other day at morning tea at Budgery Hall. She said, have you just got all that information in your head? I said, well, yeah, I suppose I must be obsessed with dahlias, but it's because I really love them. So why not focus more on that? Because I have such limited time. I've got cows and sheep I need to look after as well, and the rest of the farm and the house, and homeschool the kids and yada bada bada. So we need to focus on something that I'm really passionate about. So I think that's the way I'll go. In terms of weddings, if people book a wedding with me, I'm happy to grow specifically for the wedding. So this is what I'll do for the one I have in November next year, but I reckon that I will also need to purchase a few extra bits and bobs, and I've got a couple of other flower farmers that I know that grow things, and I can just buy them off them. Now it's making a sale for them too, which is good for them. So there's nothing wrong with me ordering in to get different flowers. I think I'm going to encourage more summer weddings, so sort of shield away from booking spring weddings, because they are stressful, particularly when you're looking at your garden and things aren't coming up. But so that's the plan there, is maybe do just summer weddings, and if I need to, don't stress too hard, but yeah, don't feel bad about having to buy it from other flower farmers, just charge accordingly. So that's the one thing. The tubers is the other, and just growing dahlias for that, potentially getting into a bit of breeding, so create some really pretty ones of my own that people are going to want. And there was one other thing. Oh yes, growing value. So where there's limited time, growing things that are valuable. So yes, dahlias and the tubers. The other thing is the roses. So, and of course, being a perennial, a little bit less work. They're so hardy and they're so beautiful. Roses were my first love before I even knew about dahlias. I just was obsessed with roses. So the David Austins, I've just been collecting them. I will look up what those other ones, Emily Bronte, and then two others. I'll have a look. I'll get back to you. Hang on. But I think I'll grow to sell roses. And the other thing that's of value too is hydrangea. So my parents give me a lot of cuttings every year. So I think that's another way to go. So growing value. Anyway, I will stop talking. I think the thing you're supposed to say when you're doing a channel like this is subscribe if you feel like it. We're just pretty laid back and cash here, and watch me and my garden disasters as I try and fumble my way through the world of flower farming and what am I going to do next. And I'm going to probably go and do some sewing now because it's kind of warm. So, and I just can't be bothered being outside anymore. So, I'll just look up these roses and I'll get back to you in a second. Okay, I looked up my invoice. I'm sure you're really interested to know what extra David Austin roses I've ordered. So, Emily Bronte and James Austin. which is a darker pink one, and the mill on the floss. I don't understand, but that's the name of that one. So looking forward to those coming. They're potted roses and they were on sale, so I kind of couldn't help it. I hadn't even got out of bed and I'm sitting there yesterday morning ordering roses on the sly. I need help. Okay, all right, I'll go and I'll catch up with you next time. See ya.